Canada, especially Justin Trudeau, has voiced the deepest concerns over the ongoing farm protest in India against the central government's 3 Farm Acts. But these jerk-offs in the past haven't spared any opportunity to challenge India's farm subsidies at the WTO. On Tuesday, while addressing members of the Sikh community, obviously to appease them for the sake of their support in the elections in Canada, Prime Minister Trudeau said the situation of Indian farmers agitating against the Farm Bill is concerning and that his country will, quote-unquote, will be there to defend the right of the peaceful protesters. How beautiful does that sound? Now a hungry hound gonna save farmers from the rabbits. India, however, obviously rejected the comments as being ill-informed. However willing Trudeau is to defend India's protesting farmers. India's Sikh farmers, because Trudeau always saw them that way. You know, he wants to get Canadian Sikh votes, but the same Canada has always been vocal at the WTO against India's food subsidy programs for its staple crops and our farm loan waivers. Canada, Brazil, New Zealand, Australia, Japan were most vocal challengers to India exceeding the permitted limit of its rice subsidy in 2018-19. They want India to eliminate its farm subsidy programs, agri-loan waivers, electricity subsidies that Punjab farmers get the most in India. Why? Because their rich Canadian and New Zealand farmers makes a dollar penny less due to Indian subsidies to its farmers who barely makes the minimum. Yes, India gives away huge subsidies to its farmers. And yes, Indian subsidies exceeds the threshold of de minimis of WTO, in which a country can only provide subsidies 10% of its total production of that crop. And yes, Indian subsidies exceeds far beyond that number. But if India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, Africa wouldn't provide subsidies to its farmers, they would starve to death. As the suicide rate is already highest among Indian farmers. Yet these hypocritical countries and so-called champion of human rights like Canada, New Zealand don't even think twice before dragging India to the WTO. Yes, Indian government must look after the concern of its protesting farmers by giving legal status and sanction to the MSP so that no trader or businessman buy their grain at lower than the MSP. But I do support these farm bills and I don't want these farm acts to be taken back. I only want a legal sanction to the MSP and a provision of strong punishment if a trader buys the grain at lower than the MSP. And don't you fucking dare calling me a bhakt, as my grandfather was as much a farmer as your father was. I support these new farm acts because I've woken up to the reality of this agriculture sector in India. But with due respect, don't you bloody Canadians or Australians lecture us Indians on how to reform Indian farming or how to hold protest. We have had enough of your fucking shit.